Hey guys, it is Sebastian from AskSebby, and today we are going to talk about what my Citi card strategy is for 2019 and 2020, and maybe a bit of 2021. Before we dive into this, feel free to give this video a thumbs up, helps with the algorithm, and also if this video gets confusing at any point, because I realize this is more of an intermediate and kind of an advanced video, feel free to go to the blog post down below. It's going to be the first link in the description box. It might help you kind of decipher what I'm trying to say. I will try to be a bit clearer though, but a lot of stuff is a bit more confusing. We'll start off with the cards I currently have with Citi, and then also what I'm looking to accomplish with said points. And one other thing that we'll talk about too is I'm going to transfer my Citi Prestige points to one of the partners, and I kind of want your insight into which one makes a bit more sense, just because sometimes more heads work better than less heads. We'll do a little survey thing, or I'll figure it out throughout the video. So right now I have the Citi Prestige card as well as the American Airlines Platinum Select card. Platinum Select is pretty much just gravy right now because it's been pretty helpful for those random flights, and also because it's been a pretty good intro bonus. I've flown American Airlines once in the last year, but it pretty much has helped me have status even though I don't fly them enough. And then in year 2, I'll probably just downgrade it into a no annual fee card. Intro bonus is well worth that annual fee though, and the fact that I'm getting benefits on top, again, gravy on top. The card that is a bit more of the elephant in the room is going to be that Citi Prestige card. The reason is because I've had it for 2 years and the annual fee just hits. I don't really want to keep it because the card doesn't make sense to me anymore. The marginal value of keeping it is relatively low compared to using any other system like American Express or Chase. There definitely are still going to be people who like a Citi setup who are going to benefit from it, but as a daily card that earns me points, it just doesn't really make sense to me given the cost. If I didn't currently have the card and I was signing up for it for an intro bonus, that might also make sense, but right now the marginal value of me paying that extra annual fee, it's not worth it. With this, I'm going to end up downgrading it or canceling the card, and for me, I'm always a fan of downgrading rather than canceling, so I'm going to do a double cash card or a dividend card. Dividend would ideally be preferred, but I've heard of people saying that it's no longer a downgrade path. People have tried recently and they've been told that you can't downgrade to it, so I'll give it a shot as well, but I'm guessing that it's going to end up being a double cash card. Before doing that though, there were 2 different things I needed to do. The first one is I needed to transfer the points that I earned with the Prestige card somewhere else. So even if I downgraded from, let's say, the Prestige to the Premier, it's pretty much like you canceling the card, and if you don't transfer the points out within 60 days or use them, then they're pretty much gone. So for me, I need to figure out where I want to transfer them, and this is where you guys are going to come in, and I'll talk about that towards the middle. The other major thing I needed to do was to apply for another thank you card, given that I passed the 24-month clock for thank you points. So Citi has a rule that you can't get welcome bonuses, intro bonuses from the same family of cards within 24 months. Since I got the Prestige card 2 years ago, I wasn't eligible for the Premier card for the last 2 years. But right now, since it's been 2 years, I got the Premier card, just got approved. And then that one is going to last me for another 2 years. I wanted to get approved first before doing the downgrade just to de-risk, but I guess technically I could have waited until afterwards. There's been a bunch of data points saying that if you don't get a number change when you do a downgrade for your card number, then you typically end up still being fine. But for me, I'd rather de-risk than take on risk for no reason. So that's already done and that's on its way, and that's probably going to be one of the cards that are in my wallet this month. For transfer partners for the Prestige points, I think I have 5 candidates, and the first one is going to be Life Miles. The pro for Life Miles is that there's no other transfer partners out of the major ones that do it, so by transferring it here, I might be positioning in a good way where I have some coverage in places I don't otherwise have coverage. Best use case for these points is probably going to be flying Lufthansa first class from the US to Europe with no fuel surcharges, about 87,000 points one way. Next one is going to be Virgin Atlantic, which is something that I've talked about a few times. Big benefit here is that you can transfer it with a lot of other groups as well. And if you want to fly Delta Metal, if you want to fly ANA, this ends up being pretty useful. I probably wouldn't use it to fly Virgin Atlantic Metal though, just because it's pretty expensive. The case against this one is that I already have enough other points that I can kind of do this for, so a bit less interesting. Pretty much a points person problem. Singapore and Etihad are other options as well, kind of the same idea there though. that you can combine it with Chase as well as American Express, so you have a lot more leeway, especially for these more expensive redemptions like Singapore Suites. If you can't tell, I'm probably leaning towards Life Miles. I would kind of love your opinion because this is weirdly, I don't know, sometimes I feel like when you are not set on something anyways, you might as well ask other people and see what their thoughts are. If you're someone that just wants to vote on something, feel free to use the link down below to vote. Makes it a bit easier to kind of see where everyone's headspace is. If you're someone who has a very specific example or specific recommendation how you would use the points, or yeah, pretty much anything interesting, a bit more long form, feel free to leave a comment down below. Pretty easy way to let me know what you think and helps me out. So that's probably something I'm doing the next few days in terms of transferring the points, just because I want to make sure that I get my refunds for that credit card rather than having to pay the $4.95. And then afterwards, 2020 ends up being pretty straightforward. I'm probably only going to use the Premier card for that intro bonus, and then afterwards it's going to the sock drawer. Once the 12 months hit, we'll see if we get a retention offer or if anything else interesting happens, if any of the rules change. Assuming nothing changes, I'm ideally hoping for a retention offer, and then in another 2 years from today, so 1 year from that point, hopefully the Prestige card will be competitive again. It's always kind of crazy to me how much value there is with intro bonuses, given that you can actually just downgrade these to no annual fee cards in the long term, and there's very little negative effect in terms of your credit score. You'd be surprised at how many people think that we're destroying our credit score and canceling cards and getting banned by Citi or whoever else, and in reality it's downgrading these to no annual fee cards. One final thing too is just because for me, I'm not really a fan of the Citi setup, and I did a whole nother video on this, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not a good setup for you. So much of this is dependent on how you want to play the game, how you value different things, how you care about insurance. And for people who buy their insurance anyways when they travel, then a lot of the stuff I care about, you might not care about at all. And you're better off getting that extra 5x back instead of taking 3 or 4x back just to de-risk, because you're paying for insurance anyways. Going off on a bit of a rant, but if you are someone who wants to learn more about any Citi cards and you want to support our channel, very easy way to do that would be to use the links that are on our website, AskSebby.com, as well as down below in the description box. Hopefully that was helpful, and let me know if you guys have any questions. My question for you guys is, what are your thoughts on my strategy? Where would you transfer your points? How would you play it? Let me in the community know down below. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. It really helps us out. If you know anyone else who benefit from what we just talked about, feel free to share the video with them. It'll probably help them out. But otherwise, I hope you guys liked it. See you guys next time.